Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to be talking about the reasons why I think I got rejected from Yale and accepted to Harvard. There are a lot of different reasons why this might have happened, but I'm just going to be talking about the reasons why I think my applications to both of these schools might have been different, how they were different, and hopefully this helps some of you that are thinking of applying to either of these schools. And yeah, I just really hope this video helps you guys. So the first thing that I want to point out is that I did apply to Yale Early Action. So Yale has the restrictive early action program where you can only apply to one school early action, but if you do get accepted, it's non-binding. So I'm not really sure if applying early action had anything to do with the fact that I did not get into Yale, but I think that is just one of the things that was different between my Yale application and my Harvard application. So after I opened my Yale decision and I found out that I was deferred, I was there's a part of me that was like really devastated about the fact that I worked so hard on my application. I kind of like put my all into this one application and I really tried my best, and then I ended up still getting deferred. And even though deferred is not rejected, I searched up some of the statistics about who gets deferred and who gets accepted out of those deferred people. And not a lot of people get accepted after they get deferred. So after that, I knew, I was like, dang it, I got deferred. This really sucks. I paused the video before I started crying. I was bawling. I was in tears for 3 hours after that. It was really a sad moment, but I say this a lot. Really, everything works out for the better for you, because there must be a reason why I didn't get in, right? I guess it made the decision ultimately easier for me that since I got rejected from Yale. I don't know if it would have worked out a different way. If I applied early action to Stanford, maybe I could have gotten rejected or deferred even. So the fact that it worked out that way, that I chose not to apply to Stanford early action and I chose to apply to Yale early action instead, is crazy, because I never thought that it would have worked out this way. I thought that I was gonna get accepted to Yale and rejected from Stanford. I just hope this video gives you guys a little bit of hope for when you might get a rejection or might get a deferral from one of your dream schools, and just know that it will hopefully work out for the better. And I believe that everything happens for a reason. So yeah. So the first thing that I want to talk about is my stats. And so basically for Yale, since Yale is a QuestBridge partner, I applied to Yale early action, but I applied through QuestBridge, which means that I had to list every single one of my standardized test scores, which include the 4 tries that I had for my ACT, all of my AP scores, and all of my SAT subject test scores. On the other hand, Harvard is not a QuestBridge partner. Therefore, the only standardized test score that I officially sent to Harvard was my 35 ACT. So the next thing that I want to talk about are my essays for both Harvard and Yale. So I'm going to start off with Yale. First of all, Yale's essays, or their supplements, are very short and there are a lot of them. So I think there were so many prompts that maybe the lack of word count maybe didn't get my personality through my essays, or they didn't get the way that I write through my essays, since they are so short. And on the other hand, for Harvard, I chose to write the letter to my roommate essay. And actually, I included this in one of my other videos, but I used my same essay that I used for my Stanford application in my Harvard application. So I used the letter to my future roommate, and I think that my personality shone through very well in this essay. And I think that was one of the reasons why I might have gotten into Harvard. The next thing that I want to talk about is my arts supplement. So for Yale, since I applied early action, the application was due right before the musical at my school, which was Mamma Mia. And so I had to send 3 pieces that were different, that were not from my musical, which I think one of my pieces that I performed, which was The Winner Takes It All, and it's in one of my other videos where I talk about my art supplement and I show you guys the things that I submitted for my art supplement, was one of the most like eye-catching things throughout my application, was that piece. So I didn't get to send that to Yale because the application was due before that performance happened. So perhaps the admissions officers didn't really get a sense of my passion for music and my passion for musical theater in my art supplement for Yale, since I did not submit an on-stage recording. However, for Harvard, I had the chance to submit that recording of The Winner Takes It All, and I submitted it for the rest of them. The only one that I didn't submit it to was Yale because it was before the deadline. So I think that that performance really caught the admissions officers' eyes at Harvard, and I guess they saw that I had a passion for it and they accepted me. I also want to mention my extracurriculars. So as for extracurriculars, obviously for both schools, they were the same. I submitted the same exact extracurriculars for both, but it might have just come down to the fact that maybe the extracurriculars that I do and that I'm interested in might not have fit in as well with Yale than they would have with Harvard. So I think that I couldn't really do anything to fix that. It might have just been the fact that admissions officers didn't think I would fit in well at their school. Another thing I want to talk about is the interviews. So I applied to Yale early action, as I already mentioned like 100 times in this video. And so for my interview for Yale, I wasn't really familiar with the interview process at Yale, if they offered alumni interviewers or if it was on campus or off campus or how it worked, since it was the first school that I applied to. So I ended up finding on Yale's website that they had on-campus interviews. And so I was like, okay, cool. Maybe I'll go for an on-campus interview. Maybe that might look good for them. They might, it might show that I'm dedicated and I really want to go to Yale. So I decided to go to an on-campus interview. I had my dad drive me to Connecticut, and so I went into the interview, and the interviewer was a current student at Yale. So it was, obviously I didn't know then, but after that, the rest of my interviews were by alumni. So it was the only one of my interviews that was not an alumni interviewer. So I don't know if this had anything to do with it, but in addition to that, the interviews were cut short and they were just like asking questions back and forth. It was really not much of a conversation at all. So that might have had something to do with the fact that my personality could not have gotten through to the interviewer at all. On the other hand, my Harvard interview was amazing, and it seemed like the conversation just kept going on and on and on for almost an hour. And it was honestly one of my best interviews that I had. And I felt it when I got out of the interview. It was just a great conversation back and forth rather than asking questions off a piece of paper. So I think that was one of the biggest differences. I also want to add something that was different about Harvard was that I got a second call from the Harvard admissions officer that's in charge of New York. So my admissions officer. I got an email after my initial interview to have a second interview. So at the time, I didn't really know what that meant, but the second interviewer just we had a chat. It was like basically a mini interview, and we talked about the things that I was doing now in school, and just asked me a little bit more about like my passions, music, language. And so that was when I got the email for that second interview. I was kind of speculating because I was like, does this mean I'm gonna get in? Does this mean I'm not gonna get in? What does this mean? I had no clue what it meant. But I know that, I mean, it obviously might mean different things for different people. None of the other schools that I applied to that I had an interview at reached out to me for a second interview. So that kind of stuck out to me. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Please like this video, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be posting a lot more content, and make sure to turn on the notifications to get notified of any new videos that I'll be posting. Make sure to check out my friend Iris's video, which she has up on her channel. She talks about the reasons why she thinks she got rejected from Harvard but accepted to Stanford. So make sure to check her video out. I'll link her video down in the description below. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.